How are we doing out there, A.B.A.T E of Illinois? This is Josh Witkowski, your outgoing state legislative coordinator for A.B.A.T E of Illinois. Still going to be continuing on as lobbyist for a few years. We're making this video in November of 2024. Reason why we're noting the time, it's because we make this same video about every 2 years, give or take. And the organization decided that we're just going to make this last one here, and every 2 years we're going to put it out. So no matter when you're watching this at some time in the future, just know things never really change. The reason for the video is this. Every 2 years, the ABATE Political Action Committees put out their voters' guides, their list of endorsements, and every 2 years, people complain because either their candidate didn't get endorsed, their party didn't get endorsed in a certain race, or the candidate that was endorsed or received a high grade has some other issue that people have a problem with that doesn't relate to motorcycles. So, first thing we're talking about is what are the political action committees? A.B.A.T.E of Illinois is a 501c4, which means they are designed to educate and lobby on issues related to motorcycling. With regards to political action, that stuff is farmed out to two different committees. A.B.A.T.E PAC, which handles the state level endorsements, state races, representatives, senators, whatnot, and then A.B.A.T.E Fed PAC, which handles congressional and senator races. We don't get involved in the presidential races just simply because all laws start in Congress. That is actually where the majority of power is held with regards to the objectives of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois. So, what do we talk about when we're talking about the issues and voting like a motorcyclist? If you ever notice, A.B.A.T.E has a shirt that's out there every now and then. It says Democrat, Republican, motorcyclist. And motorcyclist is the box that is checked, like it is on a ballot. We focus solely on the issues that affect motorcycles. We ask candidates about their views when it comes to personal protective equipment and government mandates. This would be helmet law that a lot of youth talk about, but also other equipment. Things have come up in the past regarding Kevlar, flak jackets. At one point in time, there was going to be a ban on body armor that would have actually stopped you from being able to wear certain motorcycle protective clothing if you so chose. We also talk about ethanol issues, fuel supply issues. We talk about issues surrounding the motorcycle safety classes here in Illinois. We talk about right to repair, which allows you the right, the ability to work on your own vehicles rather than constantly having to go to the dealership. We deal in issues surrounding autonomous vehicles because, like it or not, the feds really are not doing anything with that. And we are having problems. Tesla has now racked up either 4 or 5 very specific fatalities where the vehicle ran over a motorcyclist at highway speed from behind, killing them. That's a problem. Things that we're trying to draw attention to. So, all of these issues are things that we talk to lawmakers about. Unfortunately, a lot of people have problems with other issues that they try to claim are motorcyclist issues, but really don't. They're not a motorcyclist issue. I've heard illegal immigration brought up. I've heard issues surrounding health care brought up. I've heard issues surrounding the Second Amendment brought up. If a candidate is not in favor of the Second Amendment, then we shouldn't be supporting them. You know, ask anybody around. I think my views on the Second Amendment are pretty well documented to anybody who's spent a little bit of time talking to me. But guess what? That doesn't factor into stuff that has to deal with motorcycles. We look solely at issues that affect the motorcycle aspect of our lives, and that is what these grades and endorsements are based on. And we're one of the better organizations at doing that. The reason why we do this, you can't ascribe to one partisan ideology or the other, period. The goal in the state of Illinois is 60 representatives, 30 senators, one governor, 60-31. That's what it takes to pass legislation in the state of Illinois. You want to pass something at Congress, you're dealing with 435 representatives and 100 senators. That is 535 individuals. Simply skewing one side or the other will not build the coalitions that you need to get your issues heard and to get your issues addressed. You have to work the issues by themselves. And so that is what we do as an organization. Um, One of the ones that I actually got asked to address in this video is Raja Krishnamurthy, a congressman up in northern Illinois. He has been a very good congressman for us. That's why he received the endorsement. In 2018, we had a team of A.B.A.T.E of Illinois people out in Washington, D.C. We were meeting with Congressman LaHood, had to meet with Raja next. Raja realized he wasn't going to be able to make that meeting. He sent staffers up to grab us from LaHood's office, coordinated with LaHood's office, bipartisanship there, to get us through a bunch of security checkpoints and set us down at a table right outside the chamber to the House of Representatives on Capitol Hill. If you've ever looked on C-SPAN, the big doors up at the top, A.B.A.T.E of Illinois was sitting at a table right outside of those doors, speaking with Congressman Krishnamurthy, and he was telling us that he wanted motorcyclists to know that he was with us. And then the following year, he voted on a resolution that acknowledged motorcyclist profiling as an issue in this country, and he voted in the affirmative on that. Since then, we've had many positive conversations with him. So, guess what? He gets the endorsement. But Raja is also a perfect example of a legislator that doesn't ascribe to everything that we believe in. Raja very much ascribes to the California emissions theory. He is a person that is very much pushing for regulations on combustion engines, but at the same time, he's an individual who's willing to have the conversation about how that affects the motorcycling industry and whether or not that's something that can be addressed in legislation. So the fact that they're willing to have the conversation is important. That's a big part of it. The only other thing I'm going to say on that is, I've had people complain about when we endorse Republicans, when we endorse Democrats. Like I said, it's solely based on the issues and how well they work with us. The other thing I'm going to say is the people that are out there that are complaining, when you hear somebody complaining or going, look at what this organization is doing, first thing you should ask them is whether or not they're a member. And then if they're a member, ask them whether or not they've applied to be on the political action committee. Because to be on our political action committees, all you have to do is submit a letter of intent. And then it is reviewed by the political action committees, and they send a recommendation to the board of directors, and then the board of directors puts out whether or not they decide to seat individuals on our political action committees. So if you have a problem with what we're doing, please feel free to volunteer. Other than that, if you can show what we're doing doesn't involve motorcyclists, I'd really like to see that, because while I myself don't have a vote when it comes to the political action committees, I sit in solely as an advisor. I talk about legislative records. I've watched these meetings go for hours and hours and hours on end as records are debated, as relationships are debated. It is really impressive to see. It is a lot of hard work put in by a lot of good people, all in the name of supporting motorcyclists in the state of Illinois. So consider that all when you are looking at our voting guides. And if you're voting based on some other issue, hey, God bless you. That is part of what this country is all about. Vote based on what you feel. Just don't expect A.B.A.T.E of Illinois to change what they're doing. They're about motorcycles. And if motorcycles are your number one issue, then take a look at this voter guide and do so accordingly. And for those of you that are thinking about sitting out this election, we're looking at the 2024 election. This video is being done a few days before Election Day. I can tell you there are a lot of races that are going to be really, really close in the state of Illinois this time around. And it's going to be very interesting to see how election night turns out. So until then, bear in mind, like I said, got tired of making the same video every 2 years. Hopefully this is the one that we just put out going forward. But we vote motorcycles. Our issues are motorcyclist based. Nothing else. Use that information. Do with it what you will. Wish you all the best. And remember, regardless of which way you vote, regardless of who wins or who loses, we are all stuck in this together, and we have to find a way to work together. Until then, we'll see you later.